This goes against standard best practices on YouTube, but I like to save my favorite points for the end. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's Ptony, your friendly Catholic vlogger, and let's dive into the final part. Page 12, he says, before 22 weeks, a fetus is not in any way equal to a baby or a child. It cannot survive outside the uterus because it cannot breathe, not even on a respirator. It cannot form anything like thoughts. Up until 29 completed gestational weeks, despite what the aunties may say, the scientific consensus is that it cannot feel anything like pain. I tell women that having this abortion will not impede their future ability to have children, as many as they want, as long as their fertility persists. All right, so the fertility thing, that just goes back to the whole scientific question. What do the studies say? What do they not say? You know, I should brush up on all those things, see who says what. But he also references three things here. He references survivability outside the uterus, he references thoughts, and he references the ability to feel pain. And he quotes these as the distinction between, you know, between a preborn and a baby or a child. Now that kind of goes back to the question of personhood. What makes somebody a person? At what point do they have rights? But also, this just feels like a smokescreen to me. I really hope that Dr. Parker goes into this more. I'm sure he will, right? This is the prologue, right? But bringing up pain and the ability to have thoughts and what was the other one? Being able to survive. That brings up anybody who's grappled with life issues debate has got to be familiar with a lot of rhetoric that immediately comes as a response to these things. We talk about trotting out the toddler, we talk about monkeys and dolphins and cockroaches, you know, comparing all these different animals, and it gets a little bit bizarre, but also it very much showcases how these distinctions are limited. They just are not good distinctions to help us tell when somebody's life is important. And I suspect that Dr. Parker has heard these things before. Maybe he hasn't, but I kind of suspect he has. Obviously, those responses weren't satisfying, right? Why? Or is this really a smokescreen and not actually, Dr. Parker, why you believe what you believe? I really just want to know, why do you believe what you believe? But you know, I still have a lot more to read, so we'll keep on going. All right, let's go to some final quotes. On page 15, he tells the story of the adulteress in the Bible. So this is a contemplative interpretation where we're adding details in to help us live out the story. He says, the woman's execution is obviously imminent, but Jesus has intervened, and he sits by her, drawing the letters Grace in the dirt. The message of the picture, of course, is that through God's grace, all is forgiven. But it struck me as I gazed at, for the millionth time, at the picture sitting on my desk, because this is a picture that it's about the story, right? You understand that, right? I think you're already understanding what I'm trying to say, so I'm just going to stop trying to say it. Okay, as I gazed for the millionth time at the picture sitting at my desk, that maybe the picture has another meaning as well. Maybe the adulteress's name is, in fact, Grace. Maybe Jesus had to make his way through the angry throng and approach the woman gently, looking her in the face and ask her name. By knowing this intimate thing, her name, and writing it in the dirt, Jesus is acknowledging not just her humanity, but her individuality as well. She is a woman in general, subject to the unjust laws of her tribe, but she is also a real person in real circumstances, and whatever they are, they do not merit public shaming or a death sentence. This beautifully parallels how Dr. Parker opens this prologue. In the second paragraph, he talks about his upbringing in a Baptist church. I'm pretty sure it's Baptist. Hold on, let me check. I'm not actually sure of that, but he does say he's Christian. And he says, in the black churches of my childhood, an unplanned pregnancy was reason enough for a public shaming or even expulsion from church ministry. A girl who became accidentally pregnant might be forced to stand up before the congregation on a Sunday morning and beg forgiveness for her sins, while the equally sexually curious boy who helped get her pregnant sat with his brothers and sisters in Christ in judgment of her. I love how Dr. Parker really seems to put his heart on these pages. He tells us the motivations for why he believes what he believes, which are important. He's a compassionate man who is trying to defend people that he cares about. Now, I'm pro-life. I disagree with his strategy of compassion, but I highly respect the compassion itself. And I think that's important. If I'm talking to someone who's pro-choice, I do not assume that they're horrible villains. I assume that they have the best intentions at heart, quite honestly. I get in trouble with pro-lifers for saying that. But here's my question. You ready? How can the pro-life movement show the same amount of compassion to these women that are going to see Dr. Parker as Dr. Parker shows? I believe that that's something that's possible. And I believe that some pro-lifers do it. I also believe that some pro-lifers do not do that, myself included. And of course, one final question is going to be, what is Dr. Parker going to say in the rest of this book? I only made it to page 16? 16. There's a lot more to go. I'm pretty excited. And there you have it. Thank you so much. Oh, hold on. Let's do one more quick Patreon shout out. Oh shoot, how does this work? I can do it. Shoeless Joe. Thank you, Shoeless Joe, for your support. Everybody, thank you for watching, and I'm gonna run away because this was a lot of footage this week. Thanks for enduring it all. God bless and ciao.